Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our second live webinar on the transition from CARS, Child and Restraint Systems, to BEST, Basic Education for Safe Travel. My name is Tara Helm. I'm the Community Programs and Occupant Protection Manager with the Minnesota Safety Council. Thanks for joining us today to learn more. I have a few housekeeping notes to cover before we get into the content of today's webinar. First, this webinar is being recorded, so if you need to step away or if you'd like to review the content later, you'll be able to access the recording at a later date. After we've combined the recordings together from today and the one we did last month on June 24th, we'll post the recordings for you to access on the Minnesota Safety Council website available. Second, we will have a question and answer session at the end of the presentation today. Please feel free to type your questions into the chat box at any time, and we'll address them after we've covered all the material. Now, I'd like to introduce Jasmine. She's the Northwest Child Passenger Safety Liaison. Jasmine will be walking us through the transition from CARS to BEST, explaining what you need to know and highlighting the benefits of the new hybrid education.
Hard to get CARS trainers in certain areas. So where I'm at up in northwestern Minnesota, I had people driving 2+ hours to come to a training because there was no other trainers closer. So we're trying to make it so that it's going to be easier for those caregivers to access, and then easier to have up-to-date information. And then we also want to make it relevant for them. If you were a CARS trainer or took the CARS course or were familiar with it, there was some stations that you did that was hands-on, but it wasn't relevant to necessarily what was in your car. So we're trying to make it really relevant for those caregivers so that when they leave, they not only have a better understanding of car seats, but have a better understanding of how they work specifically in their vehicle or the vehicle that they're transporting children in. So what is BEST going to look like? It is a hybrid format. So they're going to do 1 hour of car seat basics. That's done online. And as a BEST facilitator, you'll become what's called a moderator for that car seat basics so that you can sign people up to take it. And we'll have Claudia talk a little bit about that here in a minute. That takes about 60 minutes to do, and then there's a 10-question quiz. It is a very interactive training where they click on different things, they watch videos, they answer different questions, and then really that quiz too is going to let us know what did they learn from that or where do they potentially have questions. And then the second part is hands-on with that BEST facilitator that's going to be working with their specific vehicle that they're transporting kids with. And then if they have car seats, it'll be with their car seats, or if they don't, that facilitator would provide some demo car seats. So who can facilitate BEST? To be a BEST facilitator, you either need to be a car seat technician proxy or a car seat technician instructor. To become an instructor is a little bit of a process. So if you're neither of those, becoming a proxy is probably going to be your easiest option. And to become a proxy, you must be a car seat technician for at least 6 months first. And really, it's that car seat technician that could be an instructor if they wanted to. So they really have that technical information. They know where to find their resources. They're comfortable with lots of different types of car seats, have good communication skills that they can relay things to that caregiver. So really that high level of car seat technician. And then there's paperwork that needs to be filled out to become a proxy. So you need to work with another technician and an instructor. So 2 different car seat people to fill out paperwork to become a proxy. And they do need to watch you install at least 3 different types of car seats. So if you don't regularly work with another technician and or instructor, it might take a couple different times meeting with that person to get everything filled out or so that they feel comfortable filling out that paperwork. Once you have that completed, then there is some paperwork that you would submit to Safe Kids Worldwide and a $25 payment that goes along with that. This is just a part of the form that needs to be filled out when you become a proxy. So this is what that technician and instructor would fill out, just saying that they've completed or they've watched you complete 3 different types of car seat installs, that they can mark these things off, and then they've watched you work with other technicians to make sure that you're giving that correct information as well. So just kind of keep that in mind, that if you're wanting to become that BEST facilitator, and you're not a proxy or an instructor yet, that there's a little bit of work to it. So make sure that you give yourself some time to do that. How do you find an instructor to help you become a proxy? You obviously worked with an instructor or 2 when you became a tech, but maybe they're not in your area or you don't continue to have contact with them. Reach out to your CPS liaison. We've got 3 of them across the state, or Tara's our state coordinator, and we'll have all of our contact information on the last slide. We can help you find different instructors that might be in your area, or potentially we can set something up to meet with you also. We kind of talked about already what is Car Seat Basics, but we're going to have Claudia go a little bit deeper into that, and then how to become a moderator also. Claudia, are you with us?
I am. That's great to be here today. Thank you. First and foremost, I am here on behalf of Kendra Webb, who is my co-worker at the National Safety Council. She runs this program, and she is out of the office today, so she asked me to step in for her. But I do back her up on it, and I have done this in the past, so just so you know that I know a little bit about what I'm talking about. But Car Seat Basics is designed to meet the learner where they are and meet learners that are caregivers, care providers such as foster care, daycare, or even employers that provide transportation services for children. The information in Car Seat Basics is broken down into small pieces, so it's easy to absorb for the person taking the course. And it's divided into stages or by car seat type, as well as divided into like harnessing section as well, so that the learner can take it in little pieces at a time. Larger modules are broken into segments so that the information can be easily referenced and also reviewed if necessary. Next slide, please. So we work to keep learning, the learning segments very short as well, so that the learner can find the completion rewarding and be able to manage their completion. Summaries are provided at the end of the modules so that the learner can look at key points and also resources that they may need, and those resources are linked within the learning as well. Next slide, please. We know that fear-based messaging is something that's been used for many, many years to try to change behaviors, but we also know that fear-based messaging only changes behaviors in the short term. For long-term change, we really have to be positive, and so Car Seat Basics does try to use positive reinforcement and encourage positive behavior change by trying to avoid that fear-based messaging. And, you know, we work with manufacturers to make sure that their requirements are there, and we try to facilitate best practice recommendations as well. Next slide. We provide manageable challenges within the curriculum, activities that the user must do, and those activities give the learner the chance to give input, and they get to choose answers, and they get immediate feedback on what they have put in as an answer to help reinforce their knowledge and also allow them to correct their mistakes if they happen to get it wrong. This helps them to confirm their confidence in the information and debunk any misconceptions that they may have prior to taking the course. The more frequent and consistent that the feedback is, the better that the student learns. We've also worked to create supporting images that resonate with the user based on real-world situations. Next slide. So, as Jasmine had mentioned, there is the group delivery option, and the group delivery is available to any of the courses that are within the learning portal at carseateducation.org. And this gives the group administrator, who you set up as a group administrator, full control of the admin functions of the system. It also lets them reset courses for the students when they don't pass a course. It also allows them to monitor completion rates, download certificates, and even reset courses for a following year if they have to retake the course for some reason. The designated group administrator is assigned to the user, assigns their users to the training. So any student that they want to take the training gets assigned by the administrator, or they can the student can actually create their own account and associate themselves with the group through a promotional code or a code that is given to them. And the group administrator can run completion reports as well, and can also self-enroll the students into the group if they want to. The group delivery function is also gaining very much a popularity. We have different organizations that do use the group function. It's being used by car seat distribution programs, such as even diversion programs within some states, Head Start programs when they're using it for educating their caregivers, or even when they're distributing equipment. It's even used by medical transporters and social service agencies. First responders use it, hospital staff use it for their training to help train parents how to use the car seats, and also help their staff be able to help parents. And, it's very useful in many different situations. So if you're interested in the group delivery function, you can go to cpsboard.org/trainings for more information. You can learn more about the course as well as the group function there at that website. The next slide, please. So one of the newest group administration functions that we have is the quiz analysis report feature. Since this program is a hybrid course, this could be very helpful to you. It will help you pull the quiz analysis function per group. You can view trends and commonly missed questions that the students are making. And then that helps you know what to review with them after the fact. And that way you can ensure that the information is received and that they do grasp it and keep it into their minds. Another group administrator perk is being able to switch to the user as a user or as a student. So if you are a group administrator, you can, go back and forth for your own good, for like if you want to take courses, or if your student needs assistance and you're not sure what they're talking about, you can actually go into the system as the student and kind of see where they're stuck. In fact, I used that today to help someone through one of the courses they were taking. I find this is the easiest way and the fastest way to help a student when they're lost in the course or they're having technical difficulties or something like that. It helps you kind of have insight to the back end of the system. All right, next slide. So I'm going to stay on the meeting for you guys and answer any questions that you may have toward the end of the meeting. But you can also email Kendra at kendra.webb@nsc.org, or you can contact me, claudia.summers@nsc.org. And we're happy to assist you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Claudia. So we'll keep kind of talking about what BEST will look like. So Claudia talked about that online portion. Once that's completed within 30 days, then we will do the in-person portion. This is just a small part of what that in-person form will look like. And it's just gonna be where you're gonna initial and that caregiver is gonna initial different things that you guys did together on what types of seats you installed in their vehicle, if there were seats installed when they left, just kind of some different things to make sure that everybody is getting that same experience when they come for their in-person portion. What supplies you need to have for that in-person portion is you'll need that eval sheet, some training dolls if they don't have kids with them, some demo car seats if they don't have car seats in their vehicle, and then in a very rare situation where they maybe don't have a vehicle, you would potentially need a training vehicle seat or a vehicle of your own that you would be using. So that would be probably not very often that would be needed, but potentially something that would be done. For demo car seats, probably having one of each type of car seat, so 4 different car seats would be a good option. For training dolls, you don't need big expensive dolls. You can use teddy bears or different dolls that you can find at Target, whatever just you can use to put in that car seat so they can practice adjusting those harness straps. How many people can attend BEST at the same time? This is going to be a little bit up to your discretion as a facilitator. It is going to be different than CARS class, where it's not going to be standing in front of a classroom lecturing. It is going to be very hands-on in the vehicle, working probably more so one-on-one with those caregivers. In the different pilots we've done some different options that we'll talk about here in just a second, but probably small groups is going to be the biggest that you'll want to do. You won't want to do large classes of 25, or there'll be lots of downtime for those people. Some different pilot options that we've done has been the one-on-one, which works well when maybe they have a child with them or they have their own car seats. That's really hands-on. You're talking specifically about their car seats, how they work in their vehicle, making sure that they understand how to install them. Small group could be maybe you have foster parent or child care providers that don't necessarily transport on a regular basis, so they don't have their own car seats, where you're going to use demo seats. So they could each take, if you have multiple demo seats and practice installing, and you would kind of hop from car to car. The other scenario we've come across with our pilots has been a daycare or a Head Start situation, where they're transporting in a bigger vehicle, a van, maybe a small bus, something like that, where you're going to take those caregivers and bring them inside their vehicle and have them each kind of practicing on different seats in there. So it's going to be up to you how you decide that's going to work best for you. How the documentation process is going to work. We're not going to use Develop anymore to keep track of that. they're going to get a certificate of completion once they finish the car seat basics. So that's something that they can print out and have access to. The other thing that they're going to have is going to be their in-person eval. And once you meet with your liaison, we will give you access to this, but this is kind of what that whole eval looks like, with the release of liability, signatures, who they worked with as their facilitator. Those are going to be their two things that they're going to be required to hang on to, and that they give to their licensure to show that, yes, that they've completed that BEST training. For what documentation you keep as that facilitator is going to be up to you. In some of our pilots, we've had that facilitator makes a photocopy of that in-person eval, and so they keep one for their records. They give one to the person attending. Others have just kept an Excel list of people that have attended and the dates that they've attended. So that's up to you how you'd like to keep track of that. Can I be compensated for facilitating BEST? If you taught cars in the past and you charged a fee for that, you can certainly continue to charge a fee for that, or you can offer it for free. As the Minnesota Office of Traffic Safety has decided that we're not going to set any parameters on fees for that course, but just note that it should be offered either free would be great, or at a reasonable fee that you're going to set for that. When can you start offering BEST in your community? Once you've been approved as a facilitator by your liaison, you can go ahead and start teaching. So we've got our 3 liaisons. We're available. You'll get our contact information. We'll just set up a quick call with you once you are a proxy or an instructor to visit about, do you have any questions? Make sure you have access to that eval form. Make sure that you're set up as a moderator with Car Seat Basics, and just kind of walk through, make sure you have the supplies you need and help answer any questions. And then you're free to move on with that. If it scares you a little bit to make the change and you aren't ready to jump in yet, cars, if that's something that you were already a trainer for, we will continue to have that as an option through the end of the year, but it won't be accepted in 2025 for licensure. So know that there is going to be a cutoff date for when cars is discontinued, and BEST will be the only option. Where can you find BEST information online? The Minnesota Safety Council is going to house all of that information. This is just a screenshot of what the website currently looks like, where it's got our 2 live sessions that we're doing here. In the very near future, it's going to have our recorded versions of this. So if you want to go back and watch it later, or weren't able to watch it and want to share it with somebody, you can certainly do that. We'll also have a list of who those facilitators are, how to sign up for their classes, if there's a fee for them, how to contact those people. All that information will be listed on the Safety Council's website. Just want to give a quick shout out to our planning committee. We've been working for almost a year to make these changes. We've been talking about it for a really long time and finally got the okay from the Office of Traffic Safety to move forward with making the change. And we've been meeting on a monthly, if not more often basis, to figure out how do we make this process work for everybody. I've been one of the people that has been piloting it, and I can't tell you how many caregivers have thanked me after the end of this class. And as a CARS trainer, I don't remember anybody ever thanking me for having to sit down for a 3-hour course, but people are really finding this beneficial. So we hope that you guys are as excited as we are about making these changes. Here's our contact information. You've got our different liaisons, and then Tara as our statewide coordinator. I can't see any of the questions, so Tara, if you want to share what those are, if anybody wants to unmute, you can certainly ask questions also, and we're here to answer them.
Thanks, Jasmine. I believe Dex has been doing a great job going through all of the questions. I think he's mostly caught up answering all of those. So if anyone has any questions that they want to ask live, feel free to raise your hand and I can call on you and you can unmute, and then we're here and available to answer your question.
Tara, I'll say just added something at the bottom of the chat. Somebody had asked about the variance process, and I have to say I don't know much about that. So if somebody could speak to the variance, that would be great.
Yeah, I can talk about that. Essentially, so the variance was more of a thing during COVID. We saw a lot of those, but was an option if you couldn't find a CARS class close to you. And when you did the variance, you were doing a car seat checkup, essentially, for checking that person's car seat. BEST almost is a variance. We're having them do that car seat basics, so they're getting that education ahead of time, and then essentially we're doing a car seat checkup with them. So there aren't going to be variances anymore because BEST kind of is a variance.
There is a request for us to just go through the questions, so we can go ahead and do that. So I'll read them and we'll just go through like we did last time, Jasmine, if that's fine.
Sure.
Do you expect there to be a period of time where there are fewer options available for providers as many technicians need to take the time to become a proxy?
We're hoping not, because CARS is still an option. So if somebody is currently a CARS trainer, they can continue to offer CARS until they're switched over to doing BEST. So if anything, we're hoping the opposite will happen, because I have some people up in very northern Minnesota that are interested in doing BEST, but weren't able to do CARS because we weren't adding any more CARS trainers. So really, we've got them set up as proxies already, that we're hoping that that's going to open up more for people. And just kind of keep that in your mind. Don't wait until November, December to go, oh shoot, I need to change and I need to become a proxy. Get that stuff started soon. Otherwise we will see, come the beginning of January, if people haven't completed their proxy paperwork, that's when we'll start to see a shortage of classes, would be my guess.
Next question is, are you aiming for there to be at least one proxy per county, or are there no expectations on that?
It would be amazing if we could get one per county. If we could have more per county, that would be amazing also. Our goal is not to set any limits to how many per county. Since the beginning, our goal has been to remove barriers for this class, whether that's so that people don't have to travel, they don't have to charge or don't have to be charged a fee to take the course. So if we have multiple in one county, we're more than willing to accept as many as there are.
I believe this question is for Claudia in regard to the car seat basics. Does the administrator have to be the proxy?
Not necessarily. It could be someone that's designated, but that would be a decision that would need to be made by your organization or the organization managing the BEST program.